this is Kirsty and you're watching Konekt. Kirsty is a multidimensional person, a multidimensional creative, if I'd say. I am born and raised in Kenya and I currently reside and I am based in Melbourne, Australia. Here is my story. Welcome. I have an uncle and an aunt who live in Australia and they've been here for a very, very long time. So I think for me, the plan was always after high school, I'd go somewhere. And because I had relatives here and they did emphasize on how the Australian education system is good. So yeah, after high school, I had about probably a year off. I was just at home, not doing much. And then after that, I came to Australia on a student visa.
Oh wow! So what did you come to study, and how was that? Now coming from Kenya, straight from high school, coming to Australia to study. What did you study, and how was that?
When I came to Australia, I studied early childhood, and I'd say it was not very easy. I'm very good with kids. I love kids, and I found that I did love teaching, but my form of teaching is I loved teaching in childcare. So when I came, I did a diploma in early childhood, which was beautiful, amazing. I couldn't stress how amazing it was to kind of interact with the children, but it was very, very different from how teachers are at home. So at home, it's more of structure, education. Here, it was playing through learning, learning through play. So I was very shocked at first, but it was very fun because I find like I'm a very playful person. Once you get to know me, before you get to know me, I might seem like I'm a bit cold, I'm a bit of a snob. I've been told that, but yeah, when I started teaching and learning how to teach in childcare, it was very, very good for me, I'd say. Coming from Kenya to Australia after high school was not easy because I'm an introvert. So most of the friends that I made were either from primary school, because in Kenya, you in primary school, you know the people you're in primary school with for more than 8 years. So those are the friends that I had in primary school. And then I went to boarding school, all girls high school. And the friends that I made there were people that I was seeing for a very prolonged period of time at any given time. So I did not have many friends outside those two settings. So when we cleared high school, I had a few of my friends who I met every once in a while, but they were friends from either high school or primary school. And then coming to Australia and having to start from square one was not very easy. I think the first year I was very, very depressed because there was very limited interaction in that when I was in school from Monday to Monday. So Monday to Friday, I was doing my main course, which was early childhood. And then Saturday and Sunday, I was doing an aged care course. So because I had to earn money somehow, I was going to cater for myself while I was in Australia, because coming from, I wouldn't say a very well-off family. My family, we live in Dandora. So that in Kenya is a place where not very many people have a lot. It's more of like from hand to mouth kind of sort of situation. So when I came to Australia, I came knowing that I cannot really rely on my parents back home to sustain me while I'm here. I had to do it on my own. So I think that realization became more profound when I was here. And yeah, it was very, very hard. I was very lonely, very depressed, because I also come from a family where I have 3 brothers and we are always close, we're always talking, we're always doing things together. And coming here and not having them, I think that was the biggest thing for me. I felt very lost without that sense of as well community. And yeah, so it was very, very hard the first year. I was at home most of the time. If I'm not in school, I'm in school, technically. I was either at school or at home. And when I get at home, I'm tired, I'm homesick. So all I'm doing was just going into my room and just sleeping.
Wow, amazing. So I just wanna, cause there are a lot of people going through that actually at the moment, where
Yes.
they're just locking themselves in the house. They're depressed. They don't know they're depressed first and foremost. But we want to understand, how did you get yourself out of that space and then bounce back and finish your studies? And maybe any pointers you might have for someone going through the same.
For me, the thing that got me out of it was creating and clothes. I know it may sound shallow for some people, but for me, clothes are very, very transformative. Clothes are something that I can express myself fully with. It's something that gave me confidence. It's something that, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, clothes for me are something that are very important for me, because like I said, I'm an introvert. So most of the time, I'm not the one who is going to start conversations. I will not go out of my way to meet people. I will do things for people, but I'm kind of the person who, in Kenya we say tenda mema nenda zako kind of situation. I'll do something and then I'll just go. But with clothes, even like most of my like I find like when I came here, me dressing up, even in class, I made sure I was dressed up to go to class. I know it was probably most people will come into class with like track pants and just a jacket, but oh my God, I had to dress up. I don't care whether it was winter, summer, I dressed up. I really, really dressed up. And for me, I found that that was a way of kind of putting me in a good mood. And also it was kind of a way of me inviting people to my space, because when I dress up like this, people will come. Maybe some people will stare. We need to give them a good show anyway. But some people will also be intrigued or interested in you. So they'll come and ask, oh, you look so nice. Where did you get this one? Oh, I like this color. Where did you get this one? And from then, I can start up a conversation with them. It goes beyond, oh, what are you wearing today, to, oh, how was your day? I bought this one the other day. I bought it somewhere. I was given as a gift. And then we can just build a conversation up for that. So for me, it was kind of a way of breaking the ice and also connecting with people. And because I dressed up that way, I found like even the first photography gig that I did here, modeling gig that I did, was through Facebook. So I kind of stumbled upon a group called Models and Photographers in Melbourne, and I posted a few pictures that I had previously shot in Kenya, and some of the pictures that I had taken myself here. And then people started just reaching out. Oh, I'm so and so. I'm a photographer. Would you like to work with me? And that kind of got me out of that space of depression that I was in. And I would maybe spare maybe an hour, 2 hours, go have a photo shoot. And at that time, you're talking to that person. Also, when you're kind of planning your outfits, you're getting ready, you're also not thinking of all these things that are happening. You're just in the moment. So that's why I say like clothes can be very transformative. Yeah.
Amazing. Any other tip you might have for someone going through a mental health, episode, or something is going on through their lives? What else can they do to fit in or make friends as well? For you, it was clothes, but have you seen something else that works out there?
Something else that works. I think if you're someone who's a believer, going to things like church. Because I'm also a believer, and I think at that moment, in as much as you can say you need to pray through your hardships, sometimes prayer alone is not, you can't really see the results that as much as you want, And as much as you're praying, you also need to reach out. So you can go meet people. Even like your friends or the people that are in your class, because most of the people who come here as international students, they don't have many spaces where they can connect with other people. It's usually either a school setup or a work setup, or if you're going out maybe later on in the night, that's where you're socializing. But yeah, I can say, yeah, for me it was creating, but also just connecting with people, talk to people. Even I know it might seem strange, but sometimes, like even the person who you meet at the road who does something, maybe even in the train or the bus, you can just talk to the bus driver, say good morning, or say hello to someone who you don't necessarily have any interest in. Just have conversations. Even with people back home, make sure you have like a phone call or two every now and then with people back home. Here, try and make try and make plans with the people that you have around.
Amazing.
Yes.
And now that space of now schooling, we'll talk about modeling a bit later, but
Yeah.
that already, I see it's already started while you're in school. But did you finish what you came to study? And how was that, when you finished, did you maybe get a job? And how was that now, that phase?
When I did my diploma in early childhood, because we usually have placements as well, along with every semester that you do, I got to work pretty easily because, like I said, I love kids. So, and that kind of was seen when I did my placements, and the jobs that I found were through my placement. So as soon as I finished my placement, they were like, oh, do you want to work for us after you finish like your classes? Or even sometimes you can get opportunities while you're still in the process. They can tell you, oh, well, as soon as you finish, please come and work for us, kind of situation. So that was how I got my job in early childhood. It was through placement, and I'd say that is the good thing about the Australian system. I find, like with the course that I did, that was the best thing for me because I also don't, I don't like movement. I don't like big changes. In as much I can say I adapt very quickly, but it's hard for me to like make those changes myself. So when I was offered those opportunities and I liked the place that I was working there, I just kind of went from that. I started working there. If I didn't like that place, when I went to maybe the next placement, I'd see if I like that place better and then I'd just shift. Yeah.
Amazing. So another question that really, lingers my mind is, you finished with studies, now you're working. How was fitting in now? So now there's no studies, or maybe you're doing something else before we go to modeling. And what is maybe your biggest culture shock that you've ever experienced in Australia? But how was fitting in then? With this Australian culture. I'll talk about that because from Dandora now you're immersed in the Australian culture. How was that fitting in, and what is the biggest culture shock you've ever gotten in Australia?
I think the cleanliness, to be honest. The cleanliness. Because coming from Dandora, where like there is, pardon my French, but there's trash all around you. It was just, oh my God, this is new. Like when I went to primary school was behind, or was it in front? In front of the biggest dump site in Nairobi. So coming from that to a place where it's clean, I was just like, wow, this is a new world. It's a very new world. Hey, my God, it was nice. It was really nice. I think that is the one thing that I appreciate most about here. In as much as, of course, you get people who like throw trash everywhere. So now I'm I'm very, very picky when it comes to trash. Even in the house, I'm usually the one who takes the bin out, and I get into fights with my housemate because of her not disposing of the trash properly. So that for me, I think everything else was shocking as well, but that for me is the biggest culture shock.
Amazing.
Yes.
And from Dandora now to Australia and getting a job,
Yeah.
what is your biggest motivation? Before we go to modeling, what is your biggest motivation that keeps you awake every morning or keeps you going?
My brothers. I have 3 brothers. I have 1 older brother and 2 younger brothers. And I feel like I have to succeed for them. Even in as much as I have to succeed for myself, but my brothers are my biggest motivation. They are the people who push me as well. So they're the people who support me so much as well. They're my biggest fans, and I am also their biggest fan. But yeah, for me, it's my brothers. I want to succeed. I want to provide a safe space for them, both mentally, physically, anything, any way that I can. I want to provide a safe space for them. And I want to afford them the opportunities that maybe they can't from back home. So if I know, if I succeed here, I have to open up ways for them. So I'd say my brothers, and of course God. God is also a big motivation, because coming from there to here, first of all, it's only God. There were times when, I was walking. I remember this one time. I did not have a very stable job. I didn't have much of a job, if I'd say, because at that point, it was 20, yeah, I think a year after I came, I was still working and trying to find work. And at that time, the job that I had was only 6 hours a week. 6 hours, yeah, about 6 hours a week. And that is not paying enough. It is not making sense. You have to find money somehow at that time. Because in my mindset, when I was back home coming to Australia, I was like, in the first month, I will have bought a car, I will have bought a phone, I will have bought these things, I will send money back home, I will have achieved so much in the first month. And here I was, a year towards me being in Australia, and I still don't have a job. And people back home are not understanding, Kirsty, why are you not having a job yet? People here as well are not understanding how some, at that time, some of my relatives they were really trying to push me in the direction that I was not headed to. And so they're putting pressure on me there. They're putting pressure at home. I'm also getting pressure from home, and I'm not working at that time. So I remember there's a time I was just by the roadside, and I was waiting for my bus. And I was going through it. Yay, my God, I was going through it at that time. So I prayed. And I remember that prayer. I just told God, I know you didn't take me all the way from Dandora to bring me to Australia just to be here. There has to be a greater purpose to why I'm here, dear God. There has to be. And then after I prayed, that was it. And then I remember, I think the most profound I've seen God working in my life has been when I don't have money. I have maybe $500 at that time. Is inclusive of, I haven't taken out my transport, which is about, let's say $50 a week. I haven't taken my transport to and from school. And I'm still dependent on my relative at that moment, which is also making me feel terrible, because I hate depending on people. So for me to be fully dependent on this person, I felt very helpless. And at that moment, I prayed, and I was going to school. I'm in tears. My eyes are watering at that point. So I go to school, and then I say, let me go to the bathroom first and compose myself. So I went to the bathroom, and in the bathroom, I'm just almost in tears. I'm praying, and then I get a phone call, and it's where I was doing my placement for the aged care course that I had just finished. and I got a call, and they're like, oh, hi, is this Kirsty? I said yes. And they were like, oh, so we found your resume, and we were wondering when you can start work. Hey, I didn't know where to start. I was like, do I cry? Do I laugh? Do I jump? There was so many emotions going on in my mind at that moment. I was like, I can start tomorrow. I can come tomorrow. When can you come for the interview? I said, I can come tomorrow. And when can you start work after the interview? I was just like, hey, my Lord, my heart was racing at that time. I told them, I can come tomorrow and maybe I can start next week or whenever you're ready. They said, okay. I finished that phone call, and I just remembered how many, I had sent more than 100 resumes at that point. But every time it was just like, oh, we are sorry to inform you. Oh, we are sorry to inform you. Eh. And that we are sorry to inform you was just chipping the life away from me. Eh, my God. I came to Australia thinking I was going to glow. The darkness was upon me at that time. Hey, I was almost in tears. So I went for the interview the next day. They're like, can you start next week? I said, oh yes, I can start next week. That time I had 2 weeks till my semester starts, and I had to pay a certain amount before the semester starts. So I said, I told them I can come next week. So that meant I was working for probably a week and then starting back at school. So after the interview, I went home, and then on my way home, they called me and they're like, can you start tomorrow? Rejoice in the Lord always, my friends, rejoice. I was happy. Hey! At that moment, I don't know, it was just some things you can't really, that was not my power. That was just God. We're taking a short break and we'll be back with Konekt. Welcome back to Konekt. This is Kirsty.
Amazing. So now we're gonna go back to that story where I remember you started. It was photography modeling. So how did now that grow, and what did you do to grow in that modeling, and how's modeling in Australia? But before that, how did you even get a good footing in modeling? So let's talk about modeling.
Modeling, I think for me, like growing up, I was very skinny. Very, very skinny growing up. So everyone was like, oh, you should be a model, you should be a model. But for me, I was just like, I think I like clothes more than actually modeling. I like making clothes, putting things together more than modeling. And then I got into it because I had gone for a live poetry event in Kenya. And the photographer at that time of the event, he took a few pictures like of me and my friends while we were at the event, and then he sent them to my DM. And he was like, oh, I like your style, and I'm also trying to venture into more portrait photography. If you wouldn't mind collaborating. And then kind of that's how it went. I put some looks together, and then we had a photo shoot, and then we had a couple more photo shoots after that. When I got to Australia, I really didn't think much of it initially. But then because I wanted to get out of that funk, like I said before, of being depressed and all, I just decided to it was just kind of on a whim. I decided to kind of try it out here in Australia as well. And I got into those Facebook groups, and I tried to connect to a few people, a few photographers. And yeah, I just started kind of building my portfolio at that point. I was sharing the images on Instagram, on Facebook, and then at that point I kind of got the more with modeling, if you don't have an agency, or if you don't have a very solid portfolio. So the portfolio is where you kind of showcase what you have modeled for, or the certain aspects you've been modeling over the years. It can be very hard unless you're kind of discovered by an agent or something of the sort. So for me, the more I was interacting with these creatives, I got a chance to build my portfolio from there. And yes, so initially you don't get paid. You really don't get paid. For me, I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it for kind of just my soul, to feel better. And at that time, that is usually called TFPs, so time for print. So that's where you don't get paid for it, you get the pictures out of it from the photographers.
Amazing. And how easy is it to be a model in Australia?
Not very. Like, even for me, till date, I haven't had many paid jobs. Usually I've done it for free a lot. So I've done a lot of TFPs, but at this point of my, let's say, my modeling career, I feel like I have built a solid portfolio. So I have, and apart from Runway, I've been published in 2 magazines, and I have quite a versatile portfolio. So I have done both fantasy kind of, I've done fashion photography, I've modeled for brands as well. So I believe I have a solid portfolio, but it's not easy. Because I feel like with modeling, it's still very backward, because you have to be either, in as much as they're trying to be more inclusive right now, but if you're not plus size and you're not skinny or you're not unique, you kind of fall into the cracks. Because I'm not skinny. I'm an Australian size 12, which is not usually the model sizes. Most of them are usually size 4, 6, 8, 10. And then there's me, 12. And then for this other side, you have the plus size models who are from size 14, which is just after my side. So I'm just in between 14, 16, 18. So you have those plus size or curvy models, which I also don't fall under. And if not that, I think recently has been a more like influx of either South Sudanese, very dark complexion, or the more like Ethiopian, Eritrean kind of models as well, with curly hair. And those are the features that have been kind of, you see a lot of, which I also don't fall in. So it is not easy.
Amazing. And people look at modeling, they think there's money in there. Maybe for someone who wants to before you go to styling, because I know you love styling. So for someone who's looking to get into modeling, especially our young girls, what would you advise them? Especially they're looking, maybe there's more money there. They think there's money. They think they can do. So what advice do you have for our young girls out there?
With modeling, there is money. Because I remember the first paid job that I did, I was paid $500 for 2 hours. That was a lot of money. I prayed as soon as I finished that. Oh my God, that much money. That was a lot. There is money, but it's very easy to lose yourself when you start modeling. So for like the young girls trying to get into modeling, I'd say look for a safe space, because not all these photographers who approach you necessarily want to see you grow. There are people who are approaching you with the very wrong intentions. So you have to, especially if you're young, I think you have to have a person, or even you have to communicate with your friends or with other people to kind of vet people that you work with. And when you start vetting them, when you start kind of analyzing these people. If someone approaches you as a photographer and he or she does not have a clear concept of what they want to shoot, or like they do not, even the language that they speak, or like if someone approaches you and says, oh, I want to do maybe a nude photo shoot, and you're just an upcoming model, that is a very, very, very big red flag. You should do things which are in line with your principles. Anything that goes against your principles, anything that goes against your morals, don't do it. Do not do it. Whether you feel like, oh, I need to do this so that I can grow more, so I can build my portfolio. When I started out, I was only doing fashion. And that is what I'm still doing, and it is what I enjoy doing, because fashion is very, very broad. You can do high-end fashion, you can do lookbooks. There's such a wide variety of things you can do in fashion that do not involve you being nude. So I think that is the one thing that I can vet the people who are approaching you. Don't say yes to every opportunity, because the moment you say yes to everyone, you kind of limit the quality as well. It's okay to say yes to 2 people and leave 8 people hanging, because these 2 people are the people who are in line with what you're looking for as well.
Wow, amazing. So let's talk about styling, because I want to understand, because I'll take a few videos, but how do you come up with what you dress? I see the styles you do. I'll put some few pictures up there for people to see, but I want us to talk about styling.
Yeah.
Where do you get such ideas, and how did you even get yourself to do styling?
With styling, like I said, clothes for me are very special. Clothes are very special. And with styling, I got into it. It's kind of just the same way. Someone approached me because they liked my sense of style. And they're like, oh, it was actually a photographer. She told me, oh, I have a photo shoot coming up, but I don't have clothes for the particular concept I'm after. Would you be up for collaborating? I said, sure, I'd love to. And that kind of pushed me as well, because I was like, oh, so this is something that I can actually make a career out of. It is not something that, when you're in Kenya, those are things that I wasn't very used to, or you're not used to hearing. You can just hear, oh, you have a very good sense of style, and that's the end of that sentence. But here it was like, oh, you have a very good sense of style. And then they expounded on it. They were like, can I work with you for you specifically styling my photo shoot? I was like, yes. So with that, I just went thrifting, because at that moment as well, I'm an international student. I have bills. I have rent. I have my family back home that I'm supporting. I need to, in as much as I want to be creative and express myself creatively, I need to be smart about it. And I just went and thrifted. I went to the op shop and got some outfits, washed them, steamed them, ironed them, and then I went and presented it in the photo shoot, and she loved it. And from then on, I think I just started doing more and more, and also approaching like the photographers that I had worked previously with as a model. I'll just tell them, oh, I'd go on Pinterest and like look up things for inspiration, and then go into my closet and look for, like, pair things together, play around with my in my closet, and then I'd present it to a photographer and tell them, oh, so this is the concept that I'm going for. Do you mind if you work with me? And maybe I can approach a model, or I can do it myself as well. So yeah, that's how pretty much I got into styling.
Is it expensive, styling? Because now you have to get outfits to actually style a photo shoot. Is it expensive? And is it? Do you think you really have to? It has to be inborn. It's something you can grow into.
Is it inborn? I'll answer that one. I think for me, I'd say it is. But it is also something that you have to work on, because my style over the years has evolved. In as much as when I was younger as well, I had great sense of style, but looking back, my fashion choices then are very questionable. But at that moment, I like being the best dressed. So my motto is I should either be the best dressed or the most uniquely dressed in any setting that I go to. So with the family that I come from, my dad also loves dressing up. So he's always donning suits or very, very well put together looks. My mom, with her kitenges, she's always dressed up as well. So I grew up seeing that, and it influenced my sense of style. Is it expensive? I'd say it can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be.
Clearly, you have a good sense of style and you do styling. If someone wants maybe to be styled for a photo shoot, how can they reach you?
You can reach me through my Instagram or Facebook, but usually Instagram. So Instagram, Jane_Kirsty. Kirsty is spelled Kirsty. You can reach me through there. Yes, I do collaborate with different people. I've collaborated with artists, I've collaborated with photographers, I've collaborated with models, and yeah, so with I think my biggest project was the one that I collaborated with a photographer who I absolutely love. He's a very, very, very good photographer, and when he sent me the mood board for his shoot, and he gave me total freedom as well. He was like, I asked him, so what exactly do you want me to bring on? And he was like, no, it's okay. I trust you. And for me as a stylist, that's the best thing you can tell me. I trust you. And so we did the project. It was over I went thrifting as well. For that project, I went thrifting for maybe about 2 months. Not every day, but anytime I got a chance, I went thrifting. And I think the total cost of the outfits that I got was probably around $150. But I had about 5 looks. I was styling 5 models, and I had about 10 looks. So 2 looks for each model. And then I had different props as well that I just took from my closet. So we worked with that. I even made some pieces as well. He made some pieces, head pieces and stuff like that. And we did a very good shoot, and it was featured in a magazine. Yes, so I think that was the biggest, but I do collaborate with other artists as well. And I even collaborated with a videographer recently. And yeah, it was good.
Amazing. And maybe just to recap, how can people get in touch with you, and is it expensive or can you work with someone's budget?
It was not expensive at all. So if you approach me, and you can, if you want me to give me total freedom, that is also okay. My personal style is very colorful and very out there. Yours does not have to be. If you want to be as colorful as me, that's very well. If you don't want to be as colorful as well, I approach it in a way that is very individualistic. So when I style someone, I want to bring out the best aspects of that person. So I want to bring them as much confidence as I get from when I style myself. So yeah, we'll work within your budget. Just approach me on my social media, Jane Kirsty, and I'll cater for your needs as best as I can.
Amazing. So the other question is, how do you keep it all together? How do you balance? Because where are you currently? Are you still working at the aged care, or maybe just tell us about that? But how are you balancing everything? Because someone might wonder, you're doing styling, photo shoots, you're doing all this. Are you still working? How are you making money? So how do you balance it all?
Yes, I am still working, because with my modeling and my styling, I have not been able to give it as much time, because I've been working most of the time. I still work in aged care and disability, and sometimes childcare as well. So, but I do modeling and styling on my days off. And yes, I try to balance it out because with me, I have to be creative to keep my mental health in check as well. I have to have a creative outlet. In as much as I work in these other jobs, which I like, they're jobs that you service people. And in the service industry, and especially in the healthcare industry, you meet very, very different people. And in aged care especially, it's a field where you see a lot of death and sickness. So if I do not disassociate from that, I'll fall into a very dark pit. So for me, styling and modeling is a way for me to kind of let go. It's a way for me to express my creativity. It's a way for me to kind of go back into myself. And yes, to kind of ground me. So I do that on the days that I have off, or sometimes if I have a project coming up, like now I have a project coming up over the weekend. With that, after work, I just go make sure that my outfits are ready because I design as well. So I have to go make sure that my outfits are ready for that particular project. I have to keep on either fine-tuning my outfits or creating the props that I'll need for that. So yes, it's doable. It's not very easy, but it's something that I enjoy, so it's doable for me.
So any advice you have for young people coming to this country as migrants, it can be international students or skilled migrants, what advice would you have, would you give them in relation to work, life, mental health, anything that can help them to balance life in this country?
Advice I can give people who are coming to Australia. Work-life balance, sometimes it's not very feasible. Because especially if you're coming from a place where you are used to not having, you can find that you can easily lose yourself here, either because you have so much freedom. First of all, you have so much freedom to do what you want, to do all that, but at the same time, you might have a lot of responsibilities back home or even here by yourself. So my advice would just be connect with people, find something, whether it's for me it was creativity, for other people it might be connecting with other, socializing, for other people might be even dance, music, anything like that. Find something that grounds you, find something that kind of puts you in a good space. Because what I found when I came to Australia was that it was very easy for me to lose myself, either trying to fit in a lot or trying to kind of go at 100 kilometers an hour. Don't do that. In as much as you have all these responsibilities, you have to remember, like, if you do something that will affect you, your mental health or your physical health as well, it will not only affect you, but it will also affect people that you're trying to survive for back home, if you're surviving for people back home, you know. So find an outlet, a healthy outlet as well, I might add. Find a healthy outlet. Don't try and fit in too much, or don't try and fit in at all, actually. Just, you can adapt without necessarily having to fit in. Be yourself, but look for something that grounds you. Whatever that is for you, look for something that grounds you.
Amazing. What next for Kirsty?
For Kirsty, next, I'm currently working on my website, so where I'll be doing modeling. It will showcase my modeling, what I have achieved so far. It will showcase my styling and also provide a space where people can reach out to me on a more professional kind of manner, and also venturing into design, which I love. Because like I said, clothes for me, very special. So I want to find ways where I can reach people and give people the confidence to wear clothes, or to have as much confidence as I get from dressing up. Because for me, I always say, like, if you look good, you feel good. Like, even if I'm having a bad day, especially during like COVID and all that, when I was having a bad day, all I had to do was just go into my closet and dress up. Whether it was in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, and I was feeling terrible, I just dressed up. And even if I'm not going anywhere, dress up. You don't even have to put on makeup or anything. Dress up nicely. Be around the house. That will change your outlook on a lot of things. It will change your mood in a very, very deep way. So, yeah, do that. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Go thrifting. In Kenya, we do that all the time. So, why not here? Thank you for listening to my story on the Konect. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Konect. And if you are in need of some styling advice or modeling advice, or even just want to connect with me, my Instagram is at Jane_Kirsty. That's JANE_KIRSTY. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and talking to you next.